Hi, my name is Frank Vibert, and I'm an associate at the Centre for the Analysis of Risk and Regulation at the LSE. And I want to talk about my new book, published by Edward Elgas, called Comity, Multilateralism in the New Cold War. The origin of this book goes back 2 or 3 years when I was on a visit to Washington, D.C., and I was talking with a friend and former colleague at the World Bank about how the World Bank and the IMF and other international organizations were doing. And he knew that when I'd been at the World Bank, I'd been very much involved in quite a lot of policy initiatives. And his remark to me, which was what stuck in my mind, was that, you know, Frank, he said, getting policy change has become really difficult since your time, and it's become almost impossible in the last few years. And this was a challenge to me because, like many others, we had assumed that following the collapse of communism, the world would be increasingly globalized and there would be an increasing, even if gradual, convergence of norms, and possibly we would arrive at a long, smooth glide path at a new world order. And he was saying this simply wasn't happening. Norms were not converging. In some sense, globalization had come to a halt. So the book starts by looking at this proposition that norms are not converging and discusses why this situation should have arisen. And it identifies particularly the importance of the knowledge economy, a global economy where what matters driving transactions is information, content, knowledge. And the key thing about this world, about the knowledge economy, is that different countries choose different values. Democratic countries are concerned about issues such as privacy, the probity of data, and personhood. Authoritarian countries or dictatorial countries do not care. And this difference in the approach to values spills out into the international world. They simply do not agree at the international level. And this is a major change compared with the post-World War world, where the assumption was that we could ignore differences in the domestic structure of authority, that we could still go ahead and make international rules at the international level. This division between the domestic structure of authority and international rulemaking is no longer possible. So this is a challenging world, and I use comity as a way of trying to bring together discussion under some umbrella concept. Now, comity is a familiar word to lawyers, but it's not so familiar to other social scientists. And the reason I choose it is really for 3 reasons. First of all, it provides a way of trying to think of how we can get out of impasse. We don't want impasse, neither can we assume that there is a glide path to a new global order. Comity is a way of trying to identify ways between these 2 points. Secondly, it's a way of focusing on the normative element in rulemaking. Quite a lot of discussion of international rulemaking, for example, transnational accounts or so-called hybrid accounts, assume that one can be neutral or the system is neutral as between values. But the fact is that norms matter. They affect the content of rules, obviously, but they also affect relationships between countries and the way rules are made. And comity provides a way of focusing on the normative. It also provides a way of thinking about how countries can resolve differences without resorting to force. In particular, it focuses on regulatory instruments, what's on the menu, how we choose from the menu, and what the net costs might be, taking into account that other countries who disagree with some proposed rules might retaliate. Now, this is challenging terrain, a terrain which we probably prefer we were not dealing with. And there are a number of difficult analytic issues. One obvious issue is it legitimate for like-minded democratic countries to get together and make rules and hope that they will be extended to the rest of the world? There is, in fact, no one single agreed account of what makes international rulemaking legitimate. So I look at three main concepts and judge like-minded country rulemaking against each. Similarly, I use similar benchmarks against legal relationships. There is no one single account of how different legal systems should interact with each other at the international level. So this is a challenging world, and I hope the book provides a new and different way of looking at it, and I hope you'll find it a new, interesting and challenging read. Thank you.